Hey guys, come on downstairs. We're continuing our Charlotte Hornets My League series here on Mama's Basement. That last episode, the end of it kind of snuck up on me there. I was rambling and babbling on about anything and everything, and all of a sudden I was seeing the final score screen. So I'm going to hopefully stay a little bit more on track here in this episode. We are 0-1. We lost that game to the Pelicans, and now we're back home at the Spectrum Center to take on the Chicago Bulls, who are also 0-1 as you look at the very, very early Eastern Conference standings. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Otto Porter, Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr. for them, Devontae Graham, Rozier, Hayward, Washington, and Biz for us. So we're going to play this entire game. Here is our home opener. And so we'll do this whole game, and then the next episode we'll start simcasting some first three quarters of games and maybe get through a couple and hopefully keep moving this series along. Hopefully, I'd like to do at least 5 seasons of this because I want to build the Hornets into something. Like some of my other series, I've never gotten to build a team because I'm so dang stubborn about playing every single game, and then I run out of time and the new game comes out, and it's not like MLB The Show where they have carryover saves. So I end up getting a new game and then starting over, and it's just a vicious cycle of really getting nowhere. So we're going to simcast. We're going to take full advantage of simming. It's a necessary evil. I hate it, but I'm going to hopefully love it. So we're down here to the Bulls, 21-16 late in the first quarter. PJ Washington. I don't really know PJ Washington's game that well. That's one of the early season things that we're going to struggle with in this series is I don't watch the Hornets that much, and so I don't know all of these guys' games all that well. So when I play with the Jazz, who are my favorite team, by the way, I know all their games pretty well, and I do pretty good with them. But the Hornets, I'm still trying to learn what players can do. I don't know PJ Washington. Is he a back-to-the-basket player? Can he step out and hit threes? That's all stuff I'm going to learn as we go forward. Some of you Hornets fans that are jumping in here on this can probably tell me. And I'm going to try to watch more Hornets now that I've got NBA League Pass so that I can watch the Jazz. I don't live in the Jazz market. I live in Oregon. So, oh my goodness, LaMelo ball coming down the lane on the follow. Bunnies. Elevation time, come on. All right, 30-29, we're going to the second quarter. We are trailing by 1. Hopefully we can stay in this game better than we did against the Pelicans. Lauri Markkanen whips it across to Kobe White, who hits the shot. Looked like that was just a long 2. So the Bulls are up 39-34 now. Devontae Graham, I've talked about him maybe not being our starter. I like him. He's a little undersized, and he played out of his head last season. I think it was last season. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I think it was last season. They all run together when you get my age. So Caleb Martin hits the 3, looking down the barrel there, and it's still a 1-point game midway through the second. Here's Hayward. After, I think we'll do 3 or 4 more games, and then I think we'll look at some stats and see how guys are doing. I don't want to look at stats too early. That's kind of pointless. But we'll look at some stats, and I'm not going to go in depth and look at all the advanced stats and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to try to keep it fairly simple, at least until the off season. We might do more analysis in the off seasons, but during the season, let's keep it simple. Let's keep games getting moved through, especially early when all signs point to us not really being a playoff contending team early in the season. So now we have lost contact with the Bulls a little bit here. They are up by 11 late in the first half, and they've run out 58 points. As Rozier knocks down a 3, and we end up coming back though and making it a 2-point game at the halftime break. We're shooting 52%. For the Love, they are shooting 59% with 19 rebounds to our 16, 3 blocks to 0. I mean, really just their shooting percentage. We've got to play better defense. We've got to find a way to play better defense. So, like this slider set that I use, defense is tough. It is not easy. It's your user on-ball contact is like at 0. So it is, you can't really body up with players. They're going to drive past you unless you move your feet, which I love. I like it. That's real. You know, you can't. This in today's NBA, it looks like we're playing a 2-3 zone here. And it gets absolutely dissected. Kobe White looks like he's going to take a jump shot. Then he fires it down underneath to Wendell Carter Jr. for the slam. And we are up by 1 here midway through the third. Young, Thaddeus. I think that's Thaddeus, isn't it? Thaddeus Young with a little fall away. Making it 73-72. It looks like Devontae Graham has been hitting shots lately. He's on fire a little bit here. I don't know what got him to that point, but we'll see what we can do with Devontae Graham. We haven't seen a lot of Hayward as Cody Martin comes around. Again, Cody Martin's his game is not jump shooting. So I don't know. I've got to learn how to use these guys better and do what they do in real life, because NBA 2K is really good at emulating what players do in real life and places that they're good from on the court and places that they're not, like individual spots and hot zones and cold zones and all that kind of stuff. I need to learn those. Oh, nice block coming down the lane by Miles Bridges, and he's going to get it back from LaMelo and flush it for the dunk. Block on one end, and a nice little no-look feed to Bridges. And we go to the end of the third quarter, trailing the Bulls by 4, so we are in this one. As we go to the fourth, this is just game number 2 of this series. Episode number 2 of the series, game number 2 of the season. Kobe White back out to Markkanen. He's wide open. He misses though, but Wendell Carter Jr. has inside position on one of the Martin twins. And it's 103-94 now. The Bulls have run it out halfway through the fourth quarter. Chicago, they're still a long ways away from being competitive, I think. I'm sorry. You look at what the Cavs have been doing lately in real life. They just, wow, nice little move there by Zach LaVine. A little, I don't know, he acted like he was going to maybe come back out to the top of the key, and then he, little okey doke there. Guess the layup here is LaMelo. Anyway, the Cavs just swept back-to-back games with the Nets last week, and they've been pretty impressive. They're still a little ways away too, though. They're so young. The Bulls are pretty young too. I mean, I don't think they have anybody that old on their team. LaVine might be the longest tenured player in the NBA. Here is LaMelo, off balance, kind of out of control. And that's another thing that I love about NBA 2K21. And so I love it and I hate it at the same time. Sometimes the gameplay is just as smooth and it's just like, it's super slick, super smooth, and then sometimes it's just clunky. But if you watch NBA basketball, sometimes the games are clunky. There's stagnant offenses, there's deflected passes, there's guys slapping at the ball when players are trying to dribble, there's teams that are out of sync. So NBA 2K, whether they did that on purpose or they didn't, it really has a good feel. Like, because sometimes you feel like you're on a roll and everything's going smooth, and then sometimes it just feels like you're just struggling to get anything accomplished, especially offensively. So we fall to the Bulls by 12, 119-107. Our record drops to 0-2. And in our next episode, episode number 3, I'm going to try to keep these episodes short, like 10 minutes or less if I can. Our next episode, we'll go over a couple of games, we'll simcast and play out the fourth quarters and see if we can't accelerate the season a little bit as we continue on. It's Charlotte Hornets, my league, on Mama's Basement Sports Gaming.